You consume news constantly checking your phone before your eyes even focus, scanning headlines with breakfast, doomscrolling on the commute, sneaking looks at work, cable news at night, breaking alerts buzzing through dinner, and you tell yourself you're staying informed, you're a good citizen, you're keeping up with a dangerous world. But here's the paradox that will make you want to throw every screen out the window. The more news you consume, the less you actually know. Not less facts, but less understanding, so that you can recite the scandals and the outrages and the faces, but you cannot explain the underlying policy, or the historical context, or the basic mechanics. And the data confirms it. Heavy news consumers scoring significantly lower on factual knowledge tests than moderate consumers because they remember the drama and forget the substance, and the neuroscience is vicious, threatening headlines spike your cortisol and fire your amygdala while shutting down the prefrontal cortex that thinks critically. So you are not learning, you are panicking in a state that makes you more tribal and cynical and susceptible to misinformation, and the news industry knows. This every breaking and shocking, and they don't want you to know, engineered to keep you scared and clicking because fear sells and understanding doesn't. And the American twist is, we've turned this into a civic duty, stay informed, a moral command. But what if the way you're staying informed is making you a worse citizen, drowning in irrelevance, while the most important truths, that most people are good, that crime is near historic lows, that the world isn't ending, never get covered because they don't sell. So you believe the world is a terrifying place, not because it is, but because you've watched 1,000 hours of terrorism and 0 hours of peaceful, ordinary life. But the reversal that only really settles when you step back from the fire hose is that the most informed Americans are not the ones who watch the most news. They're the ones who consume it like a slow drip, once a day from a small handful of sources, reading long-form journalism that provides context, listening to experts who admit uncertainty, turning off notifications and taking news holidays. And they've discovered something counterintuitive. When you stop checking obsessively, you don't miss anything important. The truly important stories find you, and everything else was just noise, designed to steal your attention. Let me tell you about Kevin, a news addict with 3 cable networks and 6 apps and a Twitter feed of breaking alerts, anxious and angry and convinced the world was ending, until his wife gave him an ultimatum for 1 week without news, and the first days he felt like a drug addict in withdrawal, twitchy and sure he was missing catastrophe. Then by day 4 he could hear birds and had a conversation with his son that wasn't interrupted, and he realized the world outside his phone was not on fire. And when he went back, he was stunned that almost nothing he'd been panicking about had mattered. The crises replaced by new crises, the outrage moved on, so he cut to 20 minutes a day and his anxiety dropped by half, and his relationships improved, and he was still informed enough to vote and act. The American cognitive paradox sits right here. We consume news to be good citizens, but our consumption makes us bad citizens, angry and fearful and easily manipulated. And the only escape is to turn off the tap, understanding that real citizenship requires calm, not panic, thought, not reaction, context, not headlines, and that the news is not your friend. It's a product designed to keep you scared and clicking. So if something in you just exhaled, if the impulse sparked to send this to someone who watches cable news for hours every day, that's not about me. It's the recognition that their anxiety is not patriotism but a business model, and sharing that might be the first real information diet you've ever tried. Now go turn off all notifications for 24 hours. That's an order.